Hello and welcome on in to Classic Pro Wrestling with the WFIA podcast show. I am Chris DiCarlo, the Vice President of the WFIA. Above me, upper right corner, is the man with class. We welcome him back, Mike the Class DiCagorio from Rhode Island. How are you?
I'm pretty good, guys. Glad to be back.
We're glad to have you. Always up in the corner to my left this time, the podcast host, the producer, internet radio DJ, WFIA board member, jack of all trades, Mr. Benny Scala.
When you said Jack, I was wondering where you were going to go with that, but very glad to be here.
Well, guys, I know we advertised a guest, indie superstar John Wayne Murdoch, but he could not make the show tonight. So it's just us three. And we did not have Hannibal last week, and we did a pretty good show, right, Benny?
This is Hannibal. Yeah, we did very good.
Yeah, so we're going to continue on without our guest this week, but we have some cool and interesting guests in the year to come. We look forward to that. We appreciate each and every one of you. We are live right now on the Playa Entertainment Network YouTube channel. Thank you. I say please watch, like, and subscribe. And Benny, we're getting close to that 200 mark.
Yeah, getting there. That's one by one.
Yep. And
get a lot of views, but just not the subscribers. So if you're out there watching, just hit that like and subscribe. It takes a second, and it's very, very much appreciated.
Definitely. We like to say hello and welcome to everybody in our live chat. We appreciate them. And Benny will let us know about that. Guys, I know we're holidays are right around the corner, and we obviously we just saw John Cena's last match on Saturday night's main event last week. I don't know. I was surprised that he didn't win. I was surprised that he didn't, kind of pass the torch to Gunther. What do you think, Benny?
I was on a podcast with Positively Pat Sims that Saturday morning, and I called it 100%. I said, not only is Gunther going to win, I said Gunther's going to make him tap out, because Gunther that was the one thing, Gunther had to get some kind of rub from this, and I think he needed more than just a victory. Now he can say, and he can say this for the rest of his career, that he's the only guy that made John Cena quit. It's a great way, in my opinion, to pass the torch. And then this last Monday night, you talk about a heel promo in front of I forgot where they were even at, but he said, I made John Cena tap out like a bitch. They were booing the shit out of him, that's the name of the game. Great job, Gunther.
Yeah, I do like Gunther. I think he is the next big thing for sure.
That's what his wife called him.
Yeah, but he put Goldberg away too. We can say that.
Well, so I think now you got a couple of guys. You got AJ is retiring soon, right? This year, and there's rumors that Brock Lesnar is going to retire. Although how many times has he done that? But I can see Gunther retiring both of them, and that's his that's going to be his thing. He's kind of like Randy Orton was the legend killer. He's going to be the new legend killer, maybe.
Yeah. Mike DeClass, what do you think about that Cena farewell?
I thought it was executed pretty well. The only gripe that I've heard people talk about is the way he tapped. Not that he tapped.
Yes,
basically, that's what I've heard. I don't know if that was planned that way by Cena, but I felt like Gunther followed the script perfectly. Honestly, I was very impressed with that Saturday night's main event. I think Obafemi is going to be a big star if they allow him to be. And I also was very impressed with Sol Ruca, too, the female wrestler from NXT. So I think now that it's going to be, I believe that there's going to be a lot of changes, I think, this coming year. And I believe definitely that AJ Styles is going to be retired by Gunther. Gunther basically just established himself as a monster heel. He may not be monster in status and size, but honestly, he did great. There's two people right now that I'm very impressed with in wrestling. One female and one male. And Gunther is the most impressive right now on the male side to me. And I feel like Timeless Tony Storm from AEW has been the most impressive female this past year.
Yeah, I could. I don't watch a lot of the current product, but I know of them both. I've seen them, and I'll agree with that. Gunther definitely got to be a WWE champion in the next year. I would hope, right, Benny?
Oh, absolutely. Mike had some very good points, and I was kind of wondering about that whole thing. I mean, Cena, I've never seen anybody tap out with a smile on their face, but I really think I think it was okay. I think it was, it's like getting anesthesia. Maybe you just let it, you're in the hands of a good doctor. You're going to just let go. But and that was Sol Ruka. What was that called? A soul snatcher, a soul snatcher? Man, what a move that was.
Impressive move.
Oh my God. Now she did get her name from Willy Wonka, I think, because in Willy Wonka, the bratty girl was Veruca Sol. And I think she just reversed it, Sol Ruka. But man, you talk about a future superstar, and Obafemi, very impressed by him. Very impressed.
Yes, what a giant in size and in like reminding me of a Bam Bam Bigelow, how that guy can move around that ring.
And good for them. Mike made another good point. You gotta build new stars because, well, AJ's 47 or 48, Punk's 47, Cena's I think 48. I'm trying to think who else. Even LA Knight is going to be, I think, 44. Even Cody's going to be 40. Reigns, I think, and Reigns is going to be 40. Drew, all these guys are like, and now 40 is no longer a big deal like it used to be, but they're getting up there. So you need these guys are gonna they can pass the torch to, and I think they're doing a really good job of that.
Yeah. One other name I want to mention is Randy Orton. It's another one that's getting up there in age, and he was the original.
45. Miz is 45. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was somebody. There was it's been rumored. I don't know if it will ever happen. John Moxley coming back to the WWE, but then I saw somewhere that I don't know. I guess he had a falling out before he left with Vince, or Vince don't like him. There was something about that. I don't know, but
I've never been a fan of his. I love Roman Reigns, and if my friend Lynn is listening, she loves Roman Reigns, and and I Rollins is, to me, like his persona is annoying, but the guy is a phenomenal in-ring performer. Moxley, Ambrose, Jonathan Good, whatever the hell you want to call him, I don't know. He just doesn't do it for me.
No, I agree with you. He doesn't, but
Now if they get MJF, I'd like to see him in the WWE.
Yeah.
Sure. Out of the three members of the Shield, I kind of felt the pecking order was Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and then John Moxley, or at the time Dean Ambrose. In my view, I mean, you look at Roman Reigns. He has got the look. He's got the family connections. That guy was a bona fide star as soon as they brought him to the ring. You could tell he had started.
Look at Roman Reigns, everything about him, like he's like the ultimate professional wrestler. The way he looks, the way he wrestles, the way he talks, and he's got that, like you said, he's got that family background. The Fatu and Anoa'i family backgrounds. I mean, the guy, you talk about a blue chipper. This is a blue chipper. The only thing with a guy like this is, number one, will he stay healthy? And number two, I mean, eventually Hollywood's going to be calling for this guy. I mean, they already have, but I see him being like another maybe Rock or Cena, where he's going to be, you're going to see him in a lot of movies.
Yeah, I kind of see that coming too. You beat me to there, Benny. I didn't even know, but I did see that coming. That's what I like, though. Maybe it's Triple H or it's somebody doing something right in the WWE by bringing these Samoans, family dynasty people who start in MLW, and they're bringing them right to WWE and working them in the storyline, and that's great to see. At least we may not have mass guys or blood or this and that of the old school that we love, but at least they're carrying on that Samoan family tree.
And I really like that they kept Obafemi strong. I mean, he didn't lose. He didn't have to pin or tap out. He lost on a DQ, and then Ruka Sal actually, she won. Great match. Very, very good match. I mean, she belongs on the main roster without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Hopefully a Rumble winner. We'll have to wait and see. Well, guys, we're coming up on the holidays, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day next week already upon us as this 2025 year has come to an end. And what a great year, though, for us. We kind of started in March, and we've had a lot of great guests, a lot of great historians and friends of ours. And I think only sky's the limits for this show next year, right, guys?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's a good place for, an indie wrestler, from an indie wrestler even to a bona fide star like a Steve Kern or a Davey O'Hannon. Good platform for anybody.
Yep, and we'd love to have them all. We'll promote them all and everything that goes on. In dealing with the Christmas spirit here before next week, I did a classic clip. Benny, first, our video disclaimer.
Yes, sir. Here we go.
This is U.S. Copyright Law 107, fair use. These videos and footage is from my own personal library. I do not sell them. I do not rent them to nobody. I clip them for the enjoyment of this show each and every week, as we will comment on them and to keep classic pro wrestling alive. And with that, Benny, please roll classic clip, please.
All righty. Give me 1 second here. A little bit slow tonight.
No worries.
Here we go. Classic.
So some pretty classic footage there. Hello, Coach Mark, and welcome. Rod Trongar, a great voice, not a great wrestling announcer. Yes, from the AWA. As we know, back in the 80s, 70s, they had some really big hit cards, Thanksgiving night, Christmas night, throughout the different territories. And that match was from an AWA Christmas night there at St. Paul Civic Center in St. Paul, Minnesota, home of the AWA. That was superstar Billy Graham against Rick Martel. What do you think about that one, Benny?
I tell you what, Rick Martel is very underrated. He should definitely be in the WWE Hall of Fame. I have no idea why he's not. The show that we did on Wednesday night, we were doing the card from, December 19th, 1977. And on the show, like on Peacock, they had a match, and it was from 77, I believe. It was Martel versus Harley Race for the NWA Championship. And I think Martel was like 21 or 22. Harley, of course, won. But you could tell, like this guy's going to be great. And he was. Martel was a great wrestler. It wasn't like the most colorful guy in the world, although I will say, like, I had to walk the model back. I told everybody, I said, there's no way this guy's going to be a good heel. Man, he proved me wrong. I thought he did a great job as the model.
Yeah, he definitely pulled that one off with the can of arrogance Mike DeClass in the early 90s, as we remember.
Oh yeah, it's the model. That was what I remember him from. So he did start off. Obviously, did he start off in the AWA before he came to WWF?
Well, actually, no. As Benny told us, he started there. That match was from Australia, World Championship Wrestling. He was in Portland, and then he was in Vancouver with Roddy Piper as well. And then he did the AWA, and then the WWF.
Well, he did the WWF. He did the WWF, and he was he was champion with Gurria, right?
Yeah. He flip-flopped.
Yeah,
in the 80s.
Right. And then he went to the AWA, and then he came back as the model.
Right.
Yeah, he's a WWF Tag Team Champion, and I don't think he did not get the Intercontinental title as the model. I don't think, did he?
No, not at all.
But he should have. He would have been a great IC champion as a heel.
Yeah, for sure. We also seen World Class had their Thanksgiving night Star Wars, their Christmas night Star Wars Reunion Arena, Dallas, Texas. That one was from '82 as Ric Flair defended against Kerry Von Erich in the cage. As you've seen, Michael Hayes from the Freebirds play as referee. And that's kind of how that Freebirds Von Erich feud started, as they say, as history tells us, where Terry Gordy slams the door on Kerry Von Erich's head. I mean, what a classic. We've seen that a few times in cage matches. That's like great.
Yeah, and Michael Hayes was a shady bastard. You can never trust him, but that was good. I mean, that was part of his deal. You never knew which way he was going to go.
Yeah, I love the Freebirds. Love them. Even though they were heels for the most part, but man, they were such an awesome threesome.
I don't know why they didn't make it in the WWF in the early '80s. They had a very short stay, and I'm not really sure what happened there.
You know what? Before they did that, Benny, they were on Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling in that '84 year too, and he and Tito versus the High Flyers is a great match. Yes, it was, Coach Mark. Thank you.
He and Gurria, I mean, if they had merch back in the early '80s, they would have, because they're both good-looking guys and great wrestlers, great team. They would have made bank on merch back in the early '80s.
Well, they didn't have them, but they did have the Strike Force T-shirt there with Martel
another great team, right, with Tito
and Santana. But before that, before Tito, we knew the Can-Am connection. My wife likes of Martel and Zink, and they were, they gelled together. I thought they were a good tag team there in '87.
Yeah, Jesse called Tito and Martel the Mexican connection. I love that.
Gotta love Jesse. Oh my God, if we could ever get him on this show, man, would that be awesome?
Oh yeah, a man with no filter. Love that.
That's for sure.
He did he did a documentary, with Minneapolis because he was the governor back then. Our good friend, historian, AWA, Mr. George Shire. Maybe we'll have to talk to him and see if he can get us Jesse. That would be awesome. But Michael Hayes wanted Dave Wolf to help him get into music.
That makes sense, Coach.
Yes, that was the storyline, Coach.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Dave Wolf walked him into the arenas. Remember, they get out of the limousine or Cadillac in Philadelphia Spectrum, Madison Square Garden, in Canada, and Dave Wolf would lead them to the ring. I don't know why. Yeah, that was McMahon. I'm surprised he even brought him in. But and then he brought in Michael Hayes later, right in the '90s as Doc Hendricks.
Doc Hendricks, yeah. And he kept the job with them for forever, right?
Yeah.
Like no wrestling fan really knew who he was. I mean, come on. And then
the minute Austin 316, he was a part of that storyline. He was there.
Yeah. And from my understanding, he still is there as a road agent, they call it, that works backstage with the WWE. They put him in the Hall of Fame. That's, they definitely deserve that for sure. But we saw there, I ripped it like that November, December time frame, guys. Let's go back to 1991 in the WWF, where it was Survivor Series. Then they had Tuesday Night in Texas and the whole Hogan Undertaker, where Undertaker did have right there, that was a rare title defense of the WWF title, the gold winged eagle belt. That is so awesome. And he was defending that. He defended against the Bulldog. He defended against Kerry Von Erich in some rare matches. But that was like November, December, that Undertaker clip with the belt. And of course, what a great manager for him, right? Paul Bear.
Real life Undertaker.
Yes. Yeah. I was surprised to find that out. William Moody.
Mortician, I guess, right?
I don't know. I mean, Benny, did you like him as Percy Pringle in World Class? And
I did. I liked him. I liked him both ways. Yes, I did.
Yeah, he was quite the colorful character in World Class and Florida, and with Rick Rude there. and Dewey Robertson, the missing link, and what a history. And then Brother Love, Bruce Pritchard calls him out to be the Undertaker's manager, Paul Bearer. I mean, that just classic, just awesome.
I have to, as much as WWE turned into a cartoon show in the 80s, but I gotta, some of the gimmicks they came up with were just like outstanding.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the list is on and on. I mean, oh my God.
I mean, there was your Outback or Outhouse Jacks, which didn't really work very well. But, I really think they could have done a little bit more with Skinner, with Steve Kern. I think they could have gotten a little bit more mileage out of that one.
Yeah, and then a possible IC champion,
right.
He could have been.
Yeah. Waylon Mercy, I thought was a great gimmick, so. But then you had the Bastion Boogers and, things like that. Can't hit a home run every time. Even Babe Ruth struck out a lot, but he hit a lot of home runs.
Another person I'd love to have on this show, I have tried to reach out to him, is the mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee, there in Knox County, Mr. Glenn Jacobs, a.k.a. Kane. But before that, talk about a gimmick. What about the dentist, Isaac Yankem?
Isaac Yankem, DDS.
Yeah, with Lawler. I mean, those promos were a classic, boy. I
tell you what, Lawler, even though he was a bit on in years when he came to the WWE, I thought he did pretty well. And if you watch the old Memphis clips, he was great as both a heel or a babyface. I mean, I give that territory all the credit in the world for how do you put on 52 shows a year and you keep the fans' interest? I mean, with interesting storylines. I grew up in New York, but I think if I had to do it all over again, I think I might have wanted to grow up in either Memphis or Tampa, so I could have seen wrestling every single week. How great would that have been?
Right. Well, think about it. As you guys, you had a great show last night. You always do on Wednesday night when it was real with you and Nikita about the WWF. They were going, think about all the, remember they went to high school gyms. They did the arenas. They did the Mid Hudson Civic Center before it was Raw's home in '93. And those cards were pretty often during each month too, right, Benny?
You know what? Like the whole thing, taking it out of the bingo halls. I don't know. Like is that really a good thing? I mean, I lived in Hagerstown, Maryland in '87, and at Hagerstown High School, they had a spot show, and I saw a main event was Iron Sheik versus Billy Jack Haynes. It was a great card. I had a great time.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him in the Niagara Falls Civic and Convention Center here. I've seen him in the old Memorial Auditorium in Buffalo, and now the HSBC Arena, now the KeyBank Center, home of the Buffalo Sabres. But yeah, I mean, think about it. They were all over the WWF. Remember that classic, gotta love Championship Wrestling with Vince and Bruno, or Vince and Pat. And after they announced, Joe McHugh would announce the match, right? McMahon would say something like, and then they would always advertise after the beginning.
That show was a 1 hour infomercial between those commercials during the matches and then the interviews, which were great. The quick, 1 or 2 minute interviews, they were fantastic. But they had a purpose. The purpose was to sell tickets
and set up.
I thought Bruno was a great commentator. I don't think he gets his credit. My favorite segment ever is when he's interviewing Randy Savage backstage after he did whatever he did to injured Steamboat's windpipe. You happy about that, you piece of slime? And that's so good. Like,
yeah. Well, you gotta. I mean, we love Bruno, of course. What a great legend and champion. But what about when he was a guest on Piper's Pit in Madison Square Garden, and then that feud with him and Piper developed to Boston Garden, and they had a cage match and everything.
I, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, but Bruno won the title in 1963 in May. He dropped it in January of '71 because he wanted to spend time with his family. The McMahons 2.5 years later, in late '73, they begged him to come back for a year. And he said, okay, just for 1 year till you find a replacement. Well, it was almost 3.5 years. And now you're like, you're into 1978, which is 15 years since he first won the belt. I really think if Bruno wanted to stick around, I think he could have held the championship like 17, 18 years without a break. And nobody would have told him you need to drop it. Your act is getting old. That people just love Bruno.
Right. And then, of course, they developed the feuds and the storylines to get people to, like you said, to the arenas, to the next big card on a Monday night in Madison Square Garden. As I brought up to your podcast last night, Benny and Nikita, on the side there, a lot of great of our viewers in the chat here are on your shows, and we thank and appreciate them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mentioned the December 8th, 1980 card that was in Madison Square Garden that was not taped or aired on MSG or USA, but it had Bruno versus Slaughter. It had Tony Atlas versus Ernie Ladd. I mean, he had some damn good matches that, as fans, right, I wish I would have saw.
There's a lot of debate with Cena. A lot of fans were disappointed that he lost his final match. And the argument is, people are countering, all these guys lose their retirement matches, but Bruno didn't. Bruno's supposed retirement was at the Meadowlands in October of 1981 against George Steele. He was 46. Right. He was done. He won that match. He went to Japan for a couple of weeks, and then he ostensibly went home. Now they sucked him out of retirement after that, which he said he didn't want to do. But there really is no tradition. I guess they've made it a tradition now that these guys lose. But I do think in Cena's case, I really do think it was the right call, because what's Cena going to do with a win? How's that going to benefit Gunther? The guy who's going to be there every week for years. Now he's got Gunther has not only a win over Cena, but like he made the man who never give up. I mean, they'll get a lot of mileage out of that. Just like when Dirty Dom beat Cena. And got his title back. It's like you needed to make that call.
Right. Well, I just thought that I'm surprised they let Goldberg lose in his hometown to Gunther. I just think they did that wrong. Just my opinion. Again, not that I don't like Gunther, I do. But to Goldberg lose in his hometown. I mean, I don't know why Cena did his last match in D.C. I think he's from near you, Mike DeClass, right?
Massachusetts.
Yeah. I think I thought it being in D.C. was actually a smart move, and here's why. Cena's considered like an American hero, technically. I mean, his character saluting the military and all that, right. And you have a guy who's from Austria, playing the part of Gunther, retiring him. I think it's almost kind of like a reverse Bob Backlund, Iron Sheik situation.
Mm. Yeah.
So it's like a transition to me. That's how I kind of view it.
And that's a very good point, Mike. And back in the day, that the ethnic heels. I mean, you got the back then it was the Japanese and the Russians. That were Japanese, Russians, and Germans were all pretty much guaranteed heels back in the day, and now you bring back this is kind of like 1978 all over again. Gunther is like he's timeless. You could put Gunther anywhere back in time, and he would do well with how he wrestles. I mean, he's very, very basic. There's nothing fancy about him. There's nothing fancy about the way he looks. I mean, he's not like he's got the crew cut. I mean, not really. He's in shape, I think. But he's not muscular by any means, but his moves are just like brutal.
He's a wrestling machine type of person, like a
technical. I think Michael Cole said tonight is the night that wrestling destroyed sports entertainment. I think that was what he said, and that was very symbolic because for years Vince would not let them use the term wrestling on the air. And to say that wrestling destroyed sports entertainment. So that makes you wonder, like, what are they? There's a reason why they said that. It makes you wonder what direction are they going to be going in.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I think Triple H is doing a good job. I like his leadership, but I, as a fan for a long time, I less entertainment, less show, more matches. You know, especially like I keep hearing on Monday night 3 hours, and it's just a lot of
You get 27
interviews
minutes
and
of
whatnot.
wrestling in 3 hours. Yeah.
I don't know. 2 hours of primetime wrestling, back in the '80s was great. That was enough. But that's just my opinion, and a forever an old school type of guy. But we'll see. I don't know. I mean, we're seeing TNA and WWE come together. I thought I'd never see that, but it seems to be working. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I mean, why not?
I
Back in
think
the
it makes sense.
day, what's that, Mike?
Oh, I think it makes sense, and here's my reasoning behind it. You have AEW is partnering with Ring of Honor, and
Hmm.
then you have TNA who reverted back to their name from Impact or Anthem back to the original TNA. I think it's great. I think the having the competition is great for wrestling fans. I really do.
Well, I agree with that. I'm hoping that, like, New Japan has been around for a while on Access TV. Billy Corgan's NWA has switched different streaming and different media platforms. I hope they get bigger and better. I know our good friend Mike Messier went to a show there near him in Jacksonville, Florida. I mean, he liked it and was worth it. Benny, what do you think of Billy Corgan's NWA?
I like it. I like it. I mean, my thing is, I hope all these companies succeed. I mean, again, I'll go back to my youth. Once we got cable TV, I mean, of course, every week I got WWF. But then all of a sudden now I got Championship Wrestling from Florida. I got Georgia Championship Wrestling. Before you know it, you have Southwest Championship Wrestling, World Class. Then after that, I had AWA. I mean, it's like bring it on. Like you don't really have to. I mean, you might want to favor one of these. Like I of course, I favor WWF because it's in my backyard. But I mean, I loved watching all these other territories. So to me, like the more wrestling that succeeds, the better it is for everybody.
Right. I mean, but they got to do something about these ticket prices. I mean, come on. We were talking about baseball was outrageous. $10,000 for a seat in Toronto Sky Dome. Benny, can you imagine $10,000? You can get
Well,
almost
you
get a
you are
brand new
talking
car.
to a man who in 1970 sat in the bleachers at Yankee Stadium for a doubleheader and paid 75 cents. So yeah, it's just absolutely ridiculous.
I mean,
So let me ask you guys a question. Do you think the movement to all these high tech new stadiums is a prime reason for that? I mean, if you look at it, you think about like it used to be Madison Square Garden, correct? The original one. Then they decided to start doing some of their matches in places like the new MetLife Stadium, and the transition to these larger arenas in larger stadiums. Do you think that might be why the prices have gone up to the point because they're not in bingo halls no more, and they're not in the smaller stadiums or smaller arenas like they used to be? So, do you think that plays into it too? I know that some of it could be greed, but at the same time, do you think that is playing into it too?
Yeah,
I don't know. Well,
absolutely. Good,
go ahead.
Chris.
Well, I mean, Benny, we mentioned it, right? Pro wrestling is a blue collar sport. And I mean, I talked to a physical therapist, a friend of mine who's got Buffalo Bills season tickets. And really quick, I know I'm getting off the subject of our classic wrestling that we so much love and enjoy, but guys, listen to this really quick. He got 2 season tickets for next year at the new Bill Stadium, right? He had to pay Benny, I think I told Mike to class this, $4,000 up front, $2,000 a seat. You're basically renting those seats, okay? Plus each cost of each home game ticket he's got to pay. He's got to pay $60 to park. He's got to pay $25 for a beer if he wants. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just ridiculous. It's just
for 22 men in tight pants tackling each other. No, thank you. I'll pass.
Yeah, that's crazy. And you know what really irks me about that situation is Buffalo was considered a blue collar type town, and going to these personal seat licenses, and that's what they call them, these PSLs. It's gonna take a whole large segment of the population out of the equation.
Absolutely. Because
can't
now,
even afford
I
to
mean,
take a family of four to the Sabres game
yeah, I
anymore.
mean, what's happening is all these PSLs are being snapped up by corporations, and they're using them as perks. If they're entertaining a client. I know this because I worked at Citibank, and we had season tickets to all the sports teams, and a lot of times we used it to court like a vendor or a client or whatever. To me, wrestling was meant to be a blue collar, sport, affordable. Where you could, like in Memphis, you could afford to go every week. And, maybe it was a dingy arena. Maybe it smelled like cigarettes and beer. But I think that was half the intrigue of it, but if you sat in the same seat, that every Tuesday night, no, then Memphis was Monday, right? Tampa was Tuesday, but every Monday night, Lawler's going to walk down the aisle. After like about 3 or 4 weeks, it's like, oh shit, this guy again. You form, it's because it's intimate, you form a little bond there, and these guys know who you are, and I think that's how it was meant to be. Like now, it's just so impersonal. Like Mike said, I mean, you're in a stadium with 30,000-40,000 people. I don't know, and you're paying out the yin yang, and I mean the same thing with baseball. You're paying Shohei Ohtani $70 million. Who do you think's paying for that? You're paying when you want to go watch a ball game. That's why in the summer I'll go to Clearwater Stadium. I'll pay $9 and I will watch a Florida State League game because no, thank you. I'm not spending that kind of money.
No,
It's interesting that you bring that up, Benny, because like for veterans they do the vet ticks, and the vet ticks sometimes will be free tickets just to go to a high school game, and they're
Right.
pretty good these games, mind you.
Yeah.
And it's just nuts that it's come this far. You know what I mean? As far as, and it's happening in all the major sports, but are they going to stick with the sports entertainment, or are they going to go back to pro wrestling? I mean, the terms are one thing, but Triple H is not exactly lowering prices for people.
and he should. I mean, this is ridiculous. I am of the old school. I mean, I get the stadiums are cool, and you can do, for me, you can do the stadium, but like start at 3 o'clock. Remember the pay-per-views used to start, Benny, 4 to 7 on a Sunday.
Right.
Now it's like 7 o'clock, and they're doing double nights for WrestleMania, double nights for a SummerSlam. I say always bring it back old school. You can do a pay-per-view from 4 to 10 o'clock. There's 6 hours, and we would all enjoy it. Okay.
Right.
And to me, man, like Mike DeClass said, took the words right out of my mouth, buddy. WrestleMania, Madison Square Garden 1, WrestleMania 10, WrestleMania 20. They should have kept that tradition every 10 years, in my opinion. Benny, what do you think about that?
Absolutely. But while you were talking, I'm thinking, all right, so what next year is Las Vegas, right?
Again.
All right, so just say you have 2 kids and they're huge wrestling fans, and Dad, I want to go see WrestleMania. Can we please go? So now you're going to bring a family of 4. Like, say you live here. What would it cost for a family of 4, counting airfare, hotel, food, rent a car, and the tickets to the stadium, and like, of course, all the tchotchkes you're going to buy, and if they want, you're talking about at least 5 figures, right?
Easy.
Yeah, easily. For a family of 4. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's going to be,
I would think,
minimum. Yes, especially for Vegas.
Right,
and
you're sitting in the
who can afford
nosebleeds.
that?
You can only afford the nosebleeds. I would imagine. I mean,
my very last job that I did before I kind of semi-retired was I did collections, credit card collections, which I had never done before. I had done auto collections for many years, and that was easy because if you don't pay, you may wind up you wake up rather with an oil stain in your driveway where your car used to be. And
Yeah.
but credit card collections is really, it's unsecured. There's no leverage. The only time typically somebody would pay is if they were getting a mortgage and they had to, or they were applying for a government job, and the government would do a credit check and a background check, and they would require, believe it or not, they'd require people to either pay or settle a bill. But I always wondered, like, I'd see these, like a credit card with a $28,000 balance, and my first thought is like, how the hell did you run that card up so high? And I'm thinking maybe they were a wrestling fan and they went to WrestleMania. I never asked anybody, but I always wanted, like, what did you spend that money on? But I bet it was shit like that. I mean, you right. Go get a credit card with a $15,000 limit. You run it up to 12 grand, then you don't pay it.
Right. I mean, but it's all ridiculous. It's all got to come down, no matter if it's wrestling, if it's hockey, if it's baseball, if it's basketball, football, all these prices have got to come down. I mean, the bulk of the people, like Mike DeClass said, can't afford that. Cannot afford that. I mean,
I tell you what, even I probably could afford it, but I won't pay it. I just won't pay it. And to me, it's just against my principles. I work too damn hard for my money to part with it that easily. Give me I go to the Clearwater Stadium. I'll pay. Sometimes I'll get a senior discount. It's $7 to get in. I'll buy a beer and a cheesesteak for like $17, $18. So my total investment is $25. I have a nice cheesesteak, a nice cold beer, and I'm in the beautiful Florida sun watching a quality baseball game. These right. Yeah, they're Class A minor, but kind of like watching an indie wrestling show. You never know. You might be watching the next big thing. You don't really know who's going to be there.
Right.
I find that's very true, because I went to go see a spring training game at the time, and it was Tampa Rays versus the Red Sox affiliate. And there were guys that I saw then that made the majors, and they were good players. So, and it was a good game, actually, in a nice little stadium in Port Charlotte, and I enjoyed myself a lot.
Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, which is the home of the Tampa Tarpons, which is the single A team for the Yankees. Beautiful stadium. Very, very nice. In fact, the Tampa Rays played their home games last season there because of Tropicana Field, which, in my opinion, they should stay there because the Trop sucks. It's like the worst stadium ever.
Yeah, I just don't understand the whole purpose of having a dome stadium in Florida. You don't need it. Outdoor baseball, that is an ideal spot, that George Steinbrenner Field.
Everything is wrong about the Trop. It's got a dome. It's lifeless. It's in the worst part of St. Petersburg. It's not really accessible to anybody. It's a pain in the ass. Like from my house, it's an hour and a half, and it's probably 25 miles. It's just a pain in the butt to get there. The ticket prices are absolutely outrageous. The last time I went, I paid, I think it was $23 for a beer, and I was walking around like this, and a security guard walked over and he says, "What's the matter?" I said, "Well, I just got held up." He goes, "You got held up? Who held you up?" I said, "You guys did. You charged me $23 for a beer." And he didn't like.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
The way it felt.
For one beer, $23.
One beer, and it wasn't even a good one.
Yeah. Well,
that's outrageous.
The Clearwater Stadium has it's called McGillicuddy's. It's a bar, and they have really good craft beer. Give me that any day than a can of beer, like $23 can of beer at a stadium.
Yeah, well, look at my physical therapist, my friend, with these Buffalo Bills, $25 for a beer.
That's outrageous. That's outrageous.
Ridiculous. You know how many beers I probably could get for $25 from a store? Anyway,
right.
Well,
absolutely.
Benny, why don't you please put up my ECMC still pick of the week? This is each and every week. We are trying to help our local friend here, Mrs. Robin Restaino, receive a kidney she desperately needs. It's been a 2-year battle, a 2-year search. Hopefully somebody soon in the coming new year can help our friend out with a kidney. ECMC transplant locally in Buffalo, New York here, 716-898-5001. And hopefully soon somebody can help her out. Mike DeClass, why don't you take over with our independent wrestler of the week?
Sure. Our indie wrestler of the week is Johnny Robbie. She's a triple champion, West Coast Professional Wrestling champion, a Pride Style champion, and NTLL champion. She's the number 3 ranked indie wrestler on the female side from the indie wrestling experience.
Wow.
She definitely has a very good future. Right now, the number 1 ranked person is actually signed to WWE as the ID champion. But we haven't highlighted her yet, and her name is Lainey Luck. So we may in the future. But these are up and coming indie wrestlers that most likely will either end up in one of the major promotions.
That's a pretty cool belt, I gotta say. What do you
Oh
think,
yeah.
Benny?
Yeah, no, I love it. She's back in the day, I'm thinking of when I watched women's wrestling, and they all look like Burl Ives, and now these women are like beautiful.
Yeah, and very talented in and outside of the squared circle, and great promos. And why don't you continue on with our salute to service?
Sure. This week's salute to service is Khosrow Vasiri, also known as the Iron Sheik, and he was in the Imperial Iranian Army. And his story is pretty amazing, I have to say. He was the bodyguard and security to the last Shah of Iran up until 1968, where he defected to the U.S., and that's where he became a professional wrestling under Vern Gagne.
Yeah, Benny. What I mean, I, I was shocked about this. I didn't think he was in the army. I knew he was the bodyguard, but wow.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about what a life this guy led, and now I don't know if it's true or not. Nikita said it is, but that he was offered by Vern $100,000 to break Hogan's leg, and he turned it down. I mean,
Yes.
I think he really, even though he was a heel, I really think the real Khosrow Vaziri was definitely a man of honor. Not at the end. I mean, he went up the rails at the end, but what a life.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he kind of said that on his Hall of Fame speech, and don't cut the hand that feeds him. He was very true to Vince McMahon Sr. With that situation. So, wow, yeah, the Iron Sheik, man, do we miss him? Those last couple of years, I do not believe that story Vern would have done it himself.
Yeah, I don't know. Vern was an old man by then, but who knows?
Yeah, who really knows, Coach Mark?
But kudos to because obviously Vince snatched. The list of talent that he snatched away from the AWA. Starting with Hogan, David Schultz, Mean Gene, Jesse, you name it, and of all and he would tell them, I'll pay you to come here right away. I'll break your the dates that you have signed for. Don't even do them. And the only person who finished this commitment was Bobby Heenan, another man of honor.
Yeah, for sure. That is very true. And my PSA of the week for probably our final show of the year here, 2025, as we see it on TV, also often at holiday time, but definitely worthwhile charity because it goes to a good cause, is the St. Jude Children's Hospital. It's just well worth it. I know this organization really does help kids and their families. So I definitely wanted to highlight, as we see on the TV almost every day and night during the holidays, St. Jude's Children Research Hospital. And, we talk about classic music, classic TV. Benny, the girl who does the commercial for these, remember, was That Girl TV show.
Marlo Thomas.
Yep, Marlo Thomas. Yeah,
that was a great show. The father, Lou Marie, was the star of that show. I love that guy. That was a very good show back in the mid '60s. She's got to be pushing 90.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she looks good, and she's on these commercials too, as we see, carrying on the family tradition there with this hospital and this cause. But yeah, I like That Girl.
There was a chat going on a little bit ago about autographs and how that's become such a these meet and greets with the prices that these guys charge. I think AJ Lee at one point was charging like $1,000. And, I remember going to my first show. You could literally walk up to ringside with a picture, and the wrestlers would be standing in the corner. You can hand them your picture and a pen. They'd autograph it and hand it back to you with, of course, no charge. Right. And I mean, look at it now. It's just, and paying that kind of money, what are you going to get? 30 seconds of their attention? I don't know. To me, it's just a waste of money.
Well, I understand these wrestling conventions and these these auto shows, what have you, that go around, Comic-Cons where these wrestlers go to. Hulk Hogan wanted like $300-400. I mean, come on, the guy didn't need the money, multi-millionaire over, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, think about it. If it wasn't, that's why I say time and time again, right, Benny? If it wasn't for us fans, who would these people be?
Right. 100%. How did you think, how did any of these guys become multi-millionaires? It's from us. We paid all that. So, at the end, maybe if, you have 50 million in the bank, give it a little bit back. I mean, do a free autograph signing or something like that, a free meet and greet.
Really? Even Ric Flair to this day, you go really quick, you go to a wrestling convention, okay, Waterloo, Iowa, okay, they get you for a 3-day pass with a discount off the hotel that's 5 minutes away, so it's pretty reasonable. But if you want an autograph or a picture, these wrestlers or managers, whatever, they're charging anywhere between $30 and $50 for the autograph and or for the picture. Me, I'd want a picture nowadays. I don't want an autograph, but still, I think that is ridiculous. They don't really need the money, in my opinion.
When I was back in the 80s, when baseball card collecting became a thing, you could get a lot of these guys, like retired players, you could get their home address. And if you mailed a card with a stamped self-addressed envelope, you'd get it back signed for nothing. I mean, wow. Yeah, it's become so ridiculous.
Yeah. All about the almighty dollar, which everything is. And it's just, I get it, but it's sad.
Well, guys, I guess you need to make a living, but, at some point, have some empathy for the, you're not collecting this money from millionaires. You're collecting this money from middle-class people who, like, in a lot of cases, they're trying to please their child. And, it's not, back in the day, like when my dad would take me to the wrestling matches, if it was $5, it didn't really matter. But now, you're going to spend a couple of grand, you got to rethink your budget. Okay, what aren't we going to do this year that we were going to do? You really got to recalculate your finances.
Speaking of which, before we end this week and here, how about the price of wrestling figures have skyrocketed? Either if you buy them at Walmart or Target or order them online, it's just ridiculous price.
Now, do they have a Tiffany Stratton blow-up doll? Because I would be interested in purchasing one of those. or as Mr. Backlund would say, I'd like to procure it.
Man, too bad Mr. Backlund has deteriorated in his health. Man, I'd love to have him on this show. Can you imagine?
Him and I were Facebook friends for years, and all of a sudden, out of the clear blue, one day, he just sends me a instant message, and all it said was "never capitulate," and that was it. And I said, "Yes, sir." that was my one conversation with Mr. Backlund, but it's really true. Yeah, hell of a guy. I mean, you talk about making something out of nothing. I mean, that guy's story is absolutely incredible. I want to, this year, 2026 coming up, I want to read his book. I understand it's a very lengthy book, and it's got a lot of detail, but it's one of those books. I mean, I haven't read a book in a while. I think I want to take the time and read his book. And it's sad. It's sad what, his health. And he's not that old. I think he's going to be 77. He's 76 now. Wow. But yeah, I mean, you got to understand these people took a tremendous beating for years. And, you're talking, not just, you're talking they got, how many concussions did these guys get?
Yeah. I mean, chair shots, right? I mean, some of these wrestlers are just, they're they say like they're with it and then they're not with it. I
Yeah,
mean,
look
I
at
feel
Mick
bad, but
Foley. Perfect example.
wow, yeah. Well, guys, we're gonna another great show with us. We appreciate everybody in the live chat each and every week. Please watch, like, and subscribe on the Player Entertainment Network YouTube channel. And guys, we might do a live show Sunday, December 28th. We will let our fans out there know via social media if we do. If not, we will definitely be back on Thursday night, January the 8th, 2026. And like I said, the future is bright. Sky's the limits for this show as far as guests, legends, historians. Hollywood Squares is coming back on Thursday night, January the 26th. That's always an awesome show. You got to love the Hollywood Squares, Benny.
Absolutely. One of my favorite shows.
Indeed. So from all of us to all of you, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We're in the Northeast. Benny, you're down south, so you're warm.
I'm warm.
Better than us, but stay warm and be safe. And Benny, why don't you take us out of here? Thank you, everyone. We'll see you in the future.
Good night, guys.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.